Welcome back to the Win with Dice podcast, a podcast featuring members of the Win with Dice team. I'm Calvin, and I'm joined here by Ramon.
Hey guys, it's your first time listening to the Win with Dice podcast. It's a podcast all about tabletop RPGs. Calvin and I like to take a casual approach to the hobby, so on this podcast, we like to talk about the games that we run and the games that we play and the cool, wonderful people we get to experience the hobby with. If this is your first time kind of getting into tabletop RPGs, go find some friends and some tables and some dice and go roll them. Roll the tables, roll
the people.
Have fun.
Roll the people as well.
Roll the people. Yeah, just roll everything. and then come back and if you are a player at someone's table, hey, why don't you jump behind the GM screen and go run a session or a game or a campaign or whatever for your friends. It's fun, and I swear it's not as hard as people make it out to be.
Yeah, it's definitely not as hard as you may assume it is from the other side of the screen. So this week we are going to get into the new Pathfinder playtest that was just put out. This is a very last minute episode, but a Pathfinder playtest came out on December 9th. So by the time you're hearing this, it'll have been out for a few days. If you were at PAX, you might have got a preview of the physical copy of it. But this is a playtest for a couple new classes coming to Pathfinder, maybe in the near future. So we're gonna get into talking about that. If you want to hear more stuff from us, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel or check us out on Spotify or wherever you may get your podcasts from. And as always, if you have any other questions or any particular interests you want us to cover, be sure to leave a comment. We are hoping to do another Q&A episode for our 200th episode. So if you have some questions you want us to get into, just drop them in the comments on YouTube or over on our website at winwithdice.ca. But before we get into the episode proper, we have to get to the most important part of the show, the Win with Dice Weekly GM Tip of the Week.
Yes, the Win with Dice Weekly GM Tip of the Week, brought to you by Calvin. Thanks, Calvin.
Yeah, so this is something that's been happening in a recent game I've been in over on the Vault Companions channel. We've been streaming Mass Effect for a few weeks, and it's been a whole lot of fun. But something we do off stream after the game, there's a name for it. It's like Stars and Wishes and Sparkles or something. There's a name for it that I'm not remembering at the moment. I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find it. But what we basically do is we go around and we talk about like one individual thing that we liked that each player did, as well as the GM and ourselves. And we sort of each take a turn just doing that. And I kind of like the way that it makes it easier to communicate, what I like about other people's characters and stuff like that, because I do like the way people are playing their characters, but I also get some feedback on what people are liking about my character, and I get a better sense of what the other players are enjoying at the table, because this is tabletop games are a collaborative effort. So it's always nice to hear people appreciate X, Y, and Z particular thing, and that's a thing that I've had in my mind as I'm playing this character. So sometimes it's just nice to hear that feedback, and as well as just I like to give GMs their props. So Patrick, our GM on that show, he's very good at doing a Batarian voice for one, but he's also very good at leaving us in suspense, and I've been really enjoying that, and I just like having the opportunity to let people know that I appreciate what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean that does sound really nice. I mean, I think if anything, I usually do like a, hey, how did you guys like that session? Was it cool? Was it as fun as I think it is? And usually the players say yes, of course, it was good. But yeah, I kind of like the idea of setting the precedent of people being fans of other people's characters, and it could help with role playing down the line, because if you vocalize what you like about a character, people are going to probably do that more, and then there will be opportunity for characters to have the joke surrounds in the games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if someone brings up a particular thing, then it's probably an indication that, the characters might interact regarding that subject or on that level. And, you can always just have that conversation after the game. I like this system as a way to formalize it. It wouldn't work for every table, for sure. I will say that definitely. But if you're playing with a different group of people, maybe that you're just meeting for the first time, I think it's an interesting way to sort of have that conversation about what people are enjoying in the game.
Yeah, especially if the group is new, or maybe there's some new members, or you're adding in a couple of different friend groups or different people who would play together. It's kind of a way to, I guess, kind of fast track the friendship, the actual friendship at the table, because it depends. If you already have a group of friends, you guys already know how you guys are, and a lot of player characters are just extensions of people's personalities anyway. So usually the vibes are strong, but I like this because it can boost the vibes and make it happen quicker I guess like less organically, but like faster organically, right? A little structured. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I guess yeah, that's a pretty good tip. Yeah, that's your tip of the week, folks. Unless there's anything else you want to add, Calvin.
Nope, I just want to communicate that. I know there's probably a particular name to it, but I just want to communicate that that was the thing that we are doing, and I have quite enjoyed it, so I want to let other people know about it.
Yeah, so yeah, at the end of your sessions, maybe have the players go around and talk about what they liked, actually, about the game or the characters or anything like that, and share the good vibes.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into the episode proper. About late last week, there was a surprise stream announcement on the Pasion YouTube channel where it was revealed that we've got some new classes coming. The stream was hosted by Dickey with James Case and Joshua Birdsong, and it was about the new playtest classes, which was a bit of a surprise because I thought the next thing to come would be the playtest, or at least the classes that were playtested already. But I guess we've got 4 classes upcoming at this point. People may recall that we also talked about the Battlecry playtest that featured the Commander and the Guardian. And now, moving on from 2 martial classes, we're getting into 2 magic classes with the Necromancer and the Runesmith. And Necromancer, I think people might also recognize from previously being like a subclass of Wizard. But now that Wizard classes have changed to be like, or Wizard schools, I should say, have changed to be like literal schools, Necromancer can be its own class with its own sort of flavor to it, which I think has interesting implications about the other previous Wizard schools.
Well, I like that the way that I guess Pathfinder has gone about dealing with the idea of magic, right? Like in their world where it's like they're, I guess because we have like the occult, primal, divine, and arcane kind of spell lists or schools, not schools, but just like types of magic.
Yeah.
You can really start separating stuff out into like their own fantasies a little bit better.
Yeah, like you can filter things through those particular lenses, you know, making classes related to whichever magic tradition or even like a combination of them, as we'll see with the Runesmith. And then again, like they're not limited by the old lore and everything that they were working on before, the old system that they were working on before.
Yeah, it's just kind of nice. I guess it feels, again, like you just because you cast with intelligence doesn't mean you're a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be like your defining factor of being a wizard.
Yeah, and just because you do arcane spells doesn't mean you're a wizard as well.
Yeah.
So, this particular playtest has already started. It is running from December 9th to January 31st. So if you have any questions or comments that you want to get into it, be sure to get those in before the end of January. Again, for people at PAX, you would have been able to get physical copies of this playtest. And I believe you could have also brought it to the Society Games. So if someone managed to whip up a character very quickly, they could have run it in some Society Games that weekend. But now that it's been publicly released, we can have a chat about it. So let's first get into the Necromancer, which, you know, as we said, is no longer a wizard subclass, so it can be something to itself. The Necromancer is a prepared occult spell caster, which is very hard to say 5 times fast. Instead of a spell book, though, you will have a dirge, which is like just this undead vibe, basically, that echoes throughout your body.
You just have the goth energy.
This is the goth class.
Yeah, yeah. Like
you're so edgy.
Spooky and edgy, yeah.
Necromancers have a few unique mechanics. The main one is that necromancers can summon thralls, which are undead creatures. They don't count as minions with the summon trait, so they can't take actions, but they can be used for various abilities, as we'll see in class. They can be used for flanking in combat, but otherwise they have 1 hit point, and they are always hit by attacks, and they will always fail saving throws.
I just think they're just little bone guys. They're just like, hey, I'm here.
Literally that.
Goblin turns around, what? And he just gets hit by the flanking fighter.
Bones be upon ye.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are different actions that you'll have. The one that every Necromancer gets is the Consume Thrall action, where you collapse your thrall and you get a new focus point, because you do have your own specific kind of focus spells called grave spells. And thralls can have different types based on the Necromancer's subclass that you use. So yeah, you have your grave spells, which are kind of focus spell, your grave cantrips, which are a kind of cantrip. They both have the grave tag, which is something related to necromancers. But more importantly, necromancers have a grim fascination that determines the type of necromancer they are, and sets the type of thrall that they summon. So these all have very cool names, because this is the edgy goth class. You have your bone shaper, otherwise known as an osteomancer, where you craft bones of the undead or summon new skeletons from bone pieces. And osteomancer's thralls are nimble, and when one would take damage from an effect that requires a reflex save, the damage can instead be negated with a DC 15 flat check. So this is the necromancer that summons all the spooky, scary skeletons. You have your flesh magician, also known as a Caromancer, which are experts in the destruction, production, and manipulation of flesh that summons zombies. And when one of your thralls is destroyed, the destroyed flesh then becomes difficult terrain, which I kind of visualize as like all the hands and parts of it still moving around and grabbing at anyone that walks by.
It's just wrecked. It's like cut in half. He's like,
Yeah, something real scary.
Ew. Oh, I don't like that. Get zombies out of here.
And then you have the Spirit Monger, otherwise known as the Vitamancer, and this one plays with the energies of the living and dead. It does sound like Vitamancer, but
yeah, I was gonna say the Vitamancer. Take my vitamin C. Like,
it wasn't until I read it out loud that I was
I get, because it's supposed to be vitality, right? Like, but I mean, come on, Paizo. Like,
but this one, it plays with the energies of the living and dead to summon ghosts and spirits. And when one of their thralls would do physical damage, it can instead do spirit or void damage. So, yeah, those are basically your types. You've got your skeletons, you've got your zombies, and you've got your ghosts. So you've got all sorts of flavors of undead available to you. I'm kind of wondering if this sort of character would fit good in an evil campaign, because that's kind of where my head immediately goes.
to me, I was like, this should be like a spooky, just play like Strahd, but you're the bad guy. You're Strahd. Yeah, it could be an evil campaign. I mean, like, I think in general, I just evil campaigns just like maybe think about dicks, but I feel like you don't have to be a dick.
No, I mean, it's got to be the right group, of course, but
yeah, you just like your I keep thinking of Cadfell Academy with Bones. Like, I just like my bio is just like I just like my boyfriend's undead, you know what I mean? Like
no.
with Scarlet, and yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, well, yeah, evil campaign, but I think like if anything, people already play characters like this, right?
True.
But now you could just be the Necromancer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Maybe this will finally be the class where I get to play my gremlin character who doesn't turn nice but just stays a gremlin the whole time.
That never happens, Calvin. We could all dream, you know? Like,
one day, you never know.
you just like a good character arc, and it's hard for you not to go on one. Like, it's just how it is. Don't worry.
Dang it,
everyone,
right.
Yeah, everyone always starts off irresponsible and becomes responsible, and or the other way around. Like, that's just how it works.
You got me, yeah. So, necromancers, they also have an ability called Mastery of Life and Death, which sounds very cool for the effect that it has. But it is basically like when you would do something that deals void or vitality damage, you can change what type it is. So if you would normally do void, you could do vitality instead. And you can base that on, like, if your target is resistant to a particular thing, you can choose the opposite one.
Well, if you're just, you could be an anti-necromancer. There's in Malagast, the Tom Bloom necromancer war game, there's a group of priests and priestesses and like this organization's holy quotation mark organization, but they use necromancy, but they still like dress up in like like preacher wear and stuff like that, and it's just like because they're fighting fire with fire kind of deal. You could be this dude, like like
That's true.
you
Actually,
still be a good necromancer, quote unquote, good.
quote unquote. So yeah, I was thinking we could just check out a handful of the Necromancer feats while we're here. But as far as just the class description itself goes, I do like the idea of just like you show up to a fight, you summon a bunch of your goons, your undead minions, and you go at the enemy with a handful of skeletons.
Yeah, and I think on 3rd level you get the ability to just make as a reaction. You can just turn a foe who like is defeated into one of your goons, one of your thralls.
Yes, that was like the main thing I was visualizing in my head as I was reading about this character. Just someone who is like, you're going to be really impressed by what I turn your bones into, and just putting the fear of death into your enemy.
Maybe. I mean, like maybe you're just a craftsperson, right? Like,
You're just very.
His name is Wood. Yeah, if you remember Wood from.
Yeah, from our home game, the pirate campaign.
Yeah, from the pirate game from the Witch's Market. Like Wood's I guess a flesh crafter, or I guess it would be I don't know. Wood's definitely this class now. I'm pretty sure.
What's an artist?
Yeah, he's an artist first and foremost, of the flesh. So.
Yeah, like you just when a nearby person dies and you're just like, oh sweet, new materials, new paint.
Yeah. Oh, you got a bunch of. I just like the names too. Every time Pathfinder kind of kills it with the name.
They really do. There's a lot of cool ones in the Runesmith as well. There is, you do have like these grave spells. There is one that gives you access to the spell Dead Weight, or a feat that gives you access to the spell Dead Weight, which is like your thralls jump onto a creature and like slow it down or immobilize it. And again, I just really like the idea of a character that is just terrifying to fight. Like some bandits try to jump you and suddenly they're being buried under zombies.
Well, it's like it says the thrall's body fuses around the creature, so it's not even like it's coming back. Like you just give him the bone cage, like.
Bone cage.
Bony barrage. Give him the bone hammer. I mean, okay, well, I just want to play this dude so I can say the word bone over again. Like.
Bone. Necrotic Bomb is one that got brought up during the stream, and it's similar to the Final Sacrifice spell, where basically you explode one of your summons.
Ooh, yeah, 1d12 void damage, and then it increases per spell level, so every 2 levels. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I forget how much Final Sacrifice does, but Final Sacrifice does 6d6, but it is a 2nd level spell, so. But I guess technically you can do this one more, because you can also consume a thrall to get the focus point back, and you start off with your focus points anyway. So you can just start like sending out zombie bombs. Zombombs.
Zombombs. Wait, how do you even get a thrall? Do you have to use a spell to get a thrall and then blow it up with another spell? Oh, you learn the create thrall cantrip. That's what I was looking for. Ooh, it's only one action. Oh, ooh, okay. Oh no, you can summon so many so fast. Oh no, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Whoa, this can get out of hand real fast. Oh, are you the bad guy? Like,
Only a little.
That's true. I guess they're only 1 HP, but it feels like a lot. I guess that's the point. Yeah. Okay. Cool. This is vibing. Because I mean, like, what's the point of having like a necromancer if you can't summon a bunch of stuff? Because I was also thinking the overlap between like this class and the summoner class, but the summoner class is more focused on like having one good friend, while you roll like 5 people deep. Like, you're bringing the squad. Oh, one of these level 8 focus spell, Flesh Tsunami. Yes, please give me the Flesh Tsunami. Ugh.
It also has some of my favorite recent character art. which I'll squeeze into the episode, with just this person who has like this huge scythe and is very excited to turn you into bones and then make something with your bones. Like more parts for the scythe.
I know, it's totally cool. And I like she just has a skull and it's like being disintegrated or reformed, but the idea is that like they're able to transform it in some way. I do like the idea of making a character. I do like the idea of like actually making like wood like an artist character who is just like the medium of choice is like, well, you know, it's the good stuff.
There's the zombie horde focus spell where you just create a zombie horde.
Oh, awesome. I love how easy this is. In terms of like spell casting, I think you're like a little bit more limited because you can only get like one first level spell, but really like what you're doing is kind of probably supplementing your summoning massive amounts of thralls, right?
Yeah, you're probably going to be more focused on your focus spells and your thrall effects.
Yeah, because you're not a wizard, so why do you need a bunch of spells? You have a bunch of dudes to do that for you, right?
Even at first level, like just being able to give someone else flanking from a distance.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And make an attack too while someone's flanked, like. Yeah, no, it's cool. And having another body on the ground and like taking up space.
Yes, that's actually a very important thing, because if you are in a cramped area, just having another thing there, even if it's one hit point, something taking up space is, very useful in Pathfinder.
Yeah, I think about it this way, like if something can only make one attack, it doesn't matter if that thing has 1 HP or is gonna get like they still need to use up that action anyway, right? So, and it cost you 1 action to put something there. And if you are running actual dungeons in your game, like having these hallways full of all these things it sounds like a nightmare. Like
that's the goal.
Yeah cool. Yeah, for sure. It has the flavor, I think, and it kind of hones in on the like why somebody would play a spooky goth person.
I feel like that's what they're aiming for, and who knows? I have been thinking about playing a different character in the next part of our home Rune Lords game. I don't think it'll be a Necromancer, but this class is cool.
I mean, if you do, the part 2 of Rise of Rulers it could work. It could be a thing, but it's up to you. I mean,
nah, it's got to be an investigator.
All right. Sad times for me, I guess.
All right, let's get into the next class, the Runesmith.
I like all these like half of the Necromancers are artists, and now we have a Runesmith.
Yes, so a Runesmith who is very literally an artist, because you are a support marshal who engraves runes. It can be onto your equipment, or it can be onto creatures like yourself, your allies, or even your enemies. You have the options of tracing runes in battle, or you can set them up before battle by adding them to allies and yourself. So instead of spells, you have a runic repertoire, which is like a collection of runes known, and the number of runes that you can etch at a time. Similar to the kineticist, runes are magic effects, but they are not spells. But they can also have different magical traits. And they are assumed to be like the same level as the character and scaled in the same way that spells do when they heighten. But runes themselves, they can have like passive abilities that just sort of exist after you draw them, or they can have invocations, which you take some actions to, do an active ability with the rune. The one that was an example in the announcement stream was Olsen's, the rune of Coward's Bane, which you draw onto a shield. And when that shield is raised, you get +1 AC against ranged physical attacks. And when you invoke that rune, it creates an illusion around the wielder for 1 round. And that illusion is of an impassable wall that enemies can't move through. And any creature affected by this cannot willingly move away from the wielder until they manage to disbelieve the illusion.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. I like that you have to like invoke the runes.
Yes.
And get like a cool thing out of it. That's pretty dope.
You call out the rune's true name. And if you were to look at the runes, like they all have their own unique names. They were named by Louis Loza, the creative director, who based all the names on like different like magic types, or like some were dwarven, some are draconic. I'm pretty sure the intent is that people who know a lot about Pathfinder lore might recognize some stuff, but because we always do homebrew, I don't know if that applies to either of us.
Yeah, I don't know any of these. these specific nouns. But hey, if you guys know what the these nouns are, then you'll get excited about it. Yeah, I like the idea of like tapping into runes and like even just like the true names and stuff, because that's like a Pathfinder thing, because like I guess because of like the weapon upgrade system, like getting magical weapons, it's like getting like striking runes and doing all this stuff. Like it's cool that there's like a class that's just like runes, right? Because it's such a part of the system and the flavor of the world that I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. Right? Like,
yeah,
there's even spells called like runic body, right? And stuff like that, where you're able to apply runes to your body, and like this is you now. You are the person, or you're the thing doing the runes. Like it's cool. I'm glad it exists, but I also think that it's like cool that they kind of looped in some of the races, right?
Yes.
Like having like dwarven runes, which I think is a very dwarven thing, right? Like draconic stuff. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, there's some like elf runes, like, cause like also too, it's I guess like we just call them striking runes as part of the mechanic, but flavor wise, like there's like a bunch of languages, right? And there's a bunch of cultures, and realistically, like Magic doesn't really care like about that kind of stuff. So like it'd be cool to have like every race's runes be slightly different, right? Like, you could add that flavor into your world. Like Pathfinder even has like the names be different, right? Or like even they even given specific tags that call out like the heritage.
Yeah, like I like the idea that, you know, each ancestry, like they have their own languages, so of course their written runes could be different as well. And you did mention like striking runes and stuff like that before. They do become more effective as you level up as a runesmith. You can gain the formulas to create these runes at 2nd level, and at 7th level you can optimize them a bit more. So like you deal additional damage if you have a weapon that has a striking rune.
Yeah, because you're the guy. Like,
yeah. You know how runes work. You've played RuneScape.
Yeah. Oh, I see why they made this class now.
For all the RuneScape players out there, for everyone from Gielinor. No, I think it's another one of these things that is like another class from 1st edition that's being brought over.
Oh, was this in 1st edition?
The Runesmith? Yes.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I like it. I just like the flavor of, you know, you're the one inscribing onto it too, because to be fair, there's like a specific kind of player. I keep thinking about Pain. Like since the other two playtest classes, the commander and the defender, like it just feels like all these classes are just kind of like what Pain wants, and I'm glad that he's getting it a little way. Like I'm pretty sure I've talked to him about trying to homebrew like all of this stuff. So
yeah, Pain for people who obviously don't know, because you're not in our home. We've talked about our home games a lot in this episode. But he is a player in our home games.
Yeah, and it's very exciting that I guess he's eating good. He's eating real good.
So yeah, some of the abilities you get as a runesmith. One I thought was interesting was the remote detonation, where like the way to invoke runes is you have to speak their name. But with remote detonation, you speak into an arrow or some other physical projectile, and then if you successfully hit your target, it invokes the runes that are on that target. So you can invoke every rune that is on a target if you hit them with an arrow, and those runes being, you know, whatever they are, you can just detonate them all at once. I don't think I mentioned... Yep.
Wait, does that... Hold on, wait a minute. Does that work if they have, like, striking runes and stuff like that on them?
Well, it's the runes that you draw specifically that have an invocation ability.
Because I was like, oh, wait, but if someone's carrying like a +3 sword or something, I'd be like, oh no, that dude just blew up my sword. Turn the game mechanic against you. Like, obviously that's really good.
Yeah, but if they have like Atril, Rune of Fire, inscribed on them, then they will take 2d6 fire damage when it's invoked.
Is it specifically you then? I guess it has to be the invocation one, right? Because I was thinking like, what if it was like 4 of you guys? You just like like prime the crap out of one dude, and then just
like, can you only invoke
like,
your own runes?
Yeah, maybe. But
I'm pretty sure it has to be the runes that you write that you invoke. It would be interesting if you could activate others, though. It would be kind of like I don't know if you've ever played Mass Effect Andromeda, but they had a mechanic in the game where you could, like, prime effects had, like, a prime on it, and then some effects had a detonate on it, and if you combined them and timed them in the right way, then you could add, like, extra explosive damage. So, I don't know. It would be cool if different people could summon runes and then like, just activate them all at once. I don't know if that's the case. I don't think it is, but that would be cool. I would allow it.
Yeah. I don't know if I would, because that sounds silly. I would allow it if the players are cool with the GM using it, because then like fair is fair. Like, one PC's gonna get it, they better run away and never get shot by this magic rune arrow, lest they explode.
But this is very much a setup sort of class. Like, you can do your instant stuff, like drawing a rune. It takes 1 or 2 actions based on if you're applying it to something adjacent or if you're just writing it like in the air or 30 feet away. Mm-hmm. But this is very much a class that's made for, like, you set up something and then it waits there for the right moment for you to invoke or activate it. And then when it detonates, it has some multiple scaling effect, because some runes can be combined for different effects. The diacritic runes are specifically runes that go onto other runes and modify them.
Oh, these just sound fun. It's fun because you got like the effects of like being kind of like a wizard, but like you're not a nerd. Like
you're a cool wizard.
You're a cool wizard. Yeah. And they feel kind of arcane-y. It's like kind of, it's like fantasy and magical, like the way that like the kinesis is, where it's like you get to have the fun of like slinging fireballs, but instead of it being like I cast a spell, it's like I actually am really good at kung fu. You know what I mean? Like.
True. Although I don't know if the kineticist is meant to inherently like a good at kung fu class. It just, it has those Avatar vibes. So
yeah,
I think that's what
true.
most players are doing.
Yeah, they clearly watched Avatar at least once.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's you're right. I mean, manipulating the elements. I think also just inherently, from a fantasy standpoint, it is drawing a lot of those like Eastern cultures. So you can't really get away with it. And they also they added wood and metal. So I don't know what else to say. They're doing it to themselves.
Yep.
These also feel really, I guess, like, because there's like the 2 stages of invocation, like you can really like have something kind of going, and like you're in a fight and then you're like, oh no, I really gotta, I find a pretty good opportunity to pull this off, because it's like, again, like you mentioned, it's like planning ahead and then having the ability to just push it a little bit further to give you that extra boost. I like the 2 stages of like what a rune is, where it can function as like, a regular kind of basically a buff, right? And then when you're ready to like launch it into the stratosphere, you just press the button and it's like, I activate my rune, right? Yeah.
Like it is, again, like it's good for that setup and payoff sort of thing, especially because you're limited by the number that you can have active at a time. So you kind of have to plan out, like, if you have this and this on an enemy or whatever, then when you're ready, you detonate that, you put something else on your weapon, and maybe you can have an interesting combo there.
Yeah, it's like flexible in like I want to call it like a kind of like a tactical way, where you have to kind of manage it a little bit more, and like it's more, I guess, interactive, right? Than I would say planning out like a spell list, right? Because like even sometimes with spells, if you're not playing a wizard, it's tough to know. It's like, is this the right time to use it? Should I save up? Like, are we gonna rest? Like, what's happening, right? Like, and you know, at least once everything's kind of like a little bit more in the flow of the game versus like you're stressed out, I guess I should say.
Yeah. We could look through some of these runes as well. I was just checking out some of the feats. I do like Runic Tattoo, where it's like you basically permanently have a specific rune always prepared. You can only use it like once per day, but if you have a particular rune you like, you just always have that.
You got invisible ink where you can draw a rune. It's flares once, then fades, leaving only the barest mark. So you can like conceal stuff, and the GM rolls crafting check instead of stealth, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Ooh, this is a really good craft. This is a really good class for like a blacksmith, maybe. If you have a history as a blacksmith.
Well, I mean, you get smithing weapon familiarity. Like,
yeah.
The familiarity with weapons like hammers, picks, and knife weapon groups for the purposes of proficiency. And you treat they're martial weapons as simple weapons, and any that are advanced weapons as martial weapons, which that's pretty cool because, yeah, you just get to be able to use hammers and picks and stuff right off the jump, and you don't even have to take an extra general feat to pick up that weapon proficiency feat. I forget what it's called, but yeah. The one that makes you able to use the higher ones.
Yeah, that's pretty broad, actually. That'll give you a lot of options as you actually get those weapons.
Yeah, super thematic. I like the idea of just in-class feats giving you the ability to get very specific weapon groups. Like, it adds, like, a lot of flavor.
And definitely fits the, again, I gotta compliment the art. Definitely fits the other character we see here with a bunch of runes drawn on them, just ready to smash the crap out of someone with a hammer.
Yeah, they're definitely invoking one of these damn runes. You can tell by the yell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the class itself lends to these like moments where you get to just be the main character for a sec.
Yes.
And, like, you know, you call out your attack name, like, which I feel like there should be more of. I mean, Paizo's getting way better at naming stuff, so it feels like cooler to use things, and that's kind of why I like them. Like, I just like the names, like the Horizon Thundersphere.
Yeah.
You get to just shout out that kind of nonsense, and then you roll your stuff. So
yeah, it's like with the Exemplar, where you have those cool attacks that you definitely want to yell out loud as you use them.
Yeah, for sure. Or even like I guess this is pulling from Starfinder, where, you know, you have the commander guy from Starfinder, that class.
The Envoy?
Or Envoy, yes. Or the Envoy, where you get some cool, like, all the Envoy stuff is pretty cool. In terms of like their naming conventions, and they're actually, like, I guess, usable in terms of like the game thematically. So I don't know, I guess it's like a little joy of playing a Pathfinder these days.
True. Yeah, I mean this is the class for yelling at the table. Much like the Exemplar.
Oh, it says by your name. That's the 16th level one. Once per hour, you must know the target's name, and in the moment of inspiration, you can understand the target perfectly, allowing you to craft a rune that draws effects to the target by their very name. And you attempt a crafting check based on the target's level, and regardless of the outcome, you can't be attempted for 24 hours. On a critical success, understand the target's true name, and you add temporarily to your runic repertoire as a special diacritic rune. And this diacritic rune magnifies the effects of the base rune when it's targeting the creature whose true name you know. You get a -2 second sense penalty. Oh, that's cool. So, I mean, it's like the true name feat that you could get, that I should probably not allow, but it's kind of cool. Where you get to invoke their true name, and then they just, like, suck worse at stuff. You get a -2 penalty to saving throws against effects that are rune-based. And a regular success is only -1, and the rune doesn't magnify damage, but the other one does. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I mean, I like the idea that your understanding of, like, the true names and how that all works and the flow of stuff, you're just like, oh, wait a minute. Your name is Bill. Like, oh, no.
You just engrave their name into that rune before you just unleash a barrage on them.
Yeah. It's like you put Ranshu's Rune of Thunder, but this is like 4 bill. Like,
4 bill.
you just lightning the shit out of Bill because you know his name.
He clearly deserves it though.
Yeah, I mean that would be kind of cool too if you have like a bad guy. That would be so funny if like you get like a whole thing where a bad guy just tells you their wrong name. Like you don't know what this dude's name is and you try and use it but it doesn't work. And like half of it could be even like a campaign bad guy where like their whole goal of the players is to find out this dude's real name.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the vibes of this class though. I like the idea of just like etching something cool in the air and then it just freaking explodes in someone's face. It kind of makes me think of Owl House a bit, because there was a lot of the main character like scrawling different symbols and combining them for different magic effects. I don't know if that had any impact on design, but probably not.
I mean, I don't know, maybe. I think that the I guess like the flexibility or just kind of like the modularity is pretty significant. Mm-hmm. Again, you just pick the right room for the right time, you do your thing.
Yeah. I'm just double checking. I'm not sure if I was pretty sure Runesmith was in Pathfinder previously. It might have been like a third party thing.
Because I just don't recall seeing it. I mean, you're right. I mean, I didn't play all of Pathfinder 1. I'm not an expert really on.
Oh no,
that game.
I think all of my Pathfinder 1 was with you. I just saw it on the Pathfinder like wiki, but it might have been from a third party thing. So don't take that to heart. I just don't want to be wrong on the internet.
It's okay. They'll let you know if you are wrong.
No. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really enjoying both of these classes. Again, this is a thing where like I would love an excuse to play a Necromancer at some point. I still want to play a Guardian, but I feel like I don't know. If I want to play a Guardian, I need to be in a campaign with like a specific other person who is playing a companion to that character.
I mean, it would be kind of fun to maybe just take all these test classes because I feel like they all kind of have like a vibe. Like one dude's a defender, the other one summons a bunch of goops, and the other one's a commander, gets to order people around, and this dude's just running around with runes. I think it's kind of a vibe, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll run that stupid Knights campaign, like the Knights only, but like you can like all you have to do is wear medium armor or plus. Like that's the and like you gotta have the Knights vibes and called Sir and Lady and stuff. Like that's like the only. That's just basically the idea of the Knights campaign. Like, I don't have anything else. But I want everyone to feel like they're just like a band of knights going around on an adventure.
That actually sounds really fun.
Yeah. But you could be a Necromancer. You just be a spooky knight. But you gotta have, like, the goth hair. Like...
We gotta get you onto Foundry so you can start running games online so we don't have to worry about scheduling a bunch of different people's schedules and getting them all to work at the same time.
Yeah, true.
Oh man, it was just on sale. I probably should have sent it to you directly. Anyway, this is off topic.
Yeah. I was like, Calvin, we're recording a podcast here.
Yeah, I forgot we were chill. I forgot like we're being professional and not just chilling out.
Yeah, I know. I think that's half the reason why people listen to us is because we just kind of forget that we're recording a podcast, and then we're like, "Oh shit!" All right, folks.
Is there anything else to say about these two classes? Anything else you want to say about these two classes?
No, not really. I think it's fun to live your best goth life and draw your runes. I'm excited to hear what everybody else thinks about them. I really do. Again, I like that Pathfinder kind of is really branching away from D&D and like building their own fantasy, like I guess not even like system, but just like ecosystem kind of. I should say, with like the again splitting up the magic like types, our traditions and stuff, and like even just like making a Necromancer class like its own class. Like I think that's super awesome, and it's just so wild that Pathfinder as a system, like with the dedication feats and all this other stuff, and like there's just like it feels super hard to make the same character as somebody else,
Right, yeah.
which I think is like almost like hard to do. Like I'm sure like you feel really different, like everybody has all this stuff going on that I don't even know. Like even in our campaign we have 2 kineticists. You guys are not the same character, like at all.
Not at all.
Not at all, even though you guys are the same class. And I would say that actually all of your feat choices are kind of similar a little bit. You guys have some overlap. But even with that, you guys just have the most different vibes. And I like the idea that like we could have a whole Necromancer campaign. Like, God, I don't think I really want to DM that because like, she's like having like 4 of you dudes pumping out like a bunch of dudes, and I'm just like, I have to keep spamming like those fireballs or else I'm gonna get swamped. Like, it just switches the game around.
There was a question in the stream of like putting runes onto the thralls that the Necromancer summons, and it is entirely possible. So, you know, if you want to really set up that explosion.
Oh man, could you imagine? And then like you could even like pump up, you set that up and then you blow them up. So good.
Yeah, there's that gravity one that brings people closer to whoever is bearing the rune, which I think is meant more to make them easier to attack, but like you put it on an undead, they wander into a crowd, the thing explodes, brings all the people closer together, and then, you know, they're conveniently in fireball formation.
Yeah, and you come in with the dunk. Yeah, and then you have one dude who just intimidates the shit out of them, and then all of a sudden they're really bad at rolling because they're scared for their lives. They don't know what's happening.
Exactly. Alright folks, so we will have links below to check out the playtest, as well as a link to the announcement stream if you want to go watch that yourself. Of course, if you just go to the Paizo website, you'll see a link to the playtest there. Yeah, go check it out. Make sure to give them feedback and let them know how you feel about it, if you like it, if you don't like it, all that cool stuff. Otherwise, I think that's gonna do it for this episode. So thanks a ton, everybody out there, for listening. It's been really fun to get into this new Pathfinder stuff. Looking forward to all the new stuff that's going to be coming in the next year with Pathfinder, Arcane, Lancer, Starfinder, and whatever else we end up playing.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a good 2025 for games on the channel.
Yeah, there's definitely some Mutants and Mastermind stuff I'm also looking forward to. The conclusion of their ongoing Chrono Crisis, because I want to grab that and see what I can do with that campaign. So yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to in gaming and on this channel. Speaking of this channel, we do have weekly tabletop podcast episodes as well as weekly gaming streams. So if you want to see more of that, check us out on YouTube, That One with Dice. Otherwise, if you just want to hear the podcast, we are on Spotify and other podcast platforms like Amazon, Apple, and several others. If you are on YouTube, though, if you check out the description, there's a bunch of links to pretty much everybody we've had a conversation with. We have a link to something they've worked on, so go check out all those people's awesome work. As well, I want to give some shout outs to the Untold Stories project, where I was at running Lancer just a few days ago. I meant for it to be a one-shot, and then the inevitable happened, so I've got a cliffhanger to resolve. And again, a shout out to the Vault Companions channel, where I am there playing a big old Krogan in the Mass Effect game. We barely escaped with our lives when a Reaper showed up, and now we have Cerberus to deal with, so it's a whole lot of fun.
Classic Mass Effect.
It's very Mass Effect.
I was like, is your name Shepard? Like, this is what happened to him. Then you're gonna go on shore leave and have a party with all your friends.
Right? Oh man, I have been wanting to play Mass Effect again, but then I'm like, that's so much game.
It is a lot of game. Just forget it.
I streamed it. I'll just rewatch the streams.
Yeah.
All right, folks. That's gonna do it for us for this week. Ramon, anything else you want to say before we head on out of here?
No. I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, for all of our undead summoning and rune etching players and GMs out there, just remember to keep on winning with dice, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.